Good morning, I'm Craig Negrelli. It's Monday, May 26th, 2025, and these are your unbiased updates. Russia batters Ukraine despite another prisoner swap as Trump blasts Putin, saying something happened to this guy. Plus, condolences from the Homeland Security Secretary to Israel following the murder of two of its embassy staffers on U.S. soil. And tariffs delayed. The truce between the Trump administration and the European Union on this Monday after a frosty Friday. The stories that matter, clear and credible, from across the country to around the world. These are your unbiased updates from Straight Arrow News. After an initial breakthrough with a prisoner swap, Russia and Ukraine continued attacks across each other's borders. Ukraine's Air Force says Moscow launched 364 missiles and drones. Many of them got shot down. Meantime, Russia's defense ministry says it downed more than 100 Ukrainian drones over its territory overnight. The exchange of attacks came after Russia returned more than 300 Ukrainian prisoners of war in a prisoner swap between Russia and Ukraine. Anxious and emotional loved ones greeted freed soldiers. It marked a moment of cooperation amid an otherwise fruitless effort to reach a ceasefire in a war that is now in its fourth year. In talks earlier this month in Turkey, Ukraine and Russia agreed to swap 1,000 prisoners of war and civilian captives each. This is the third and final part of that exchange. The cooperation came hours after Kyiv and other regions of Ukraine were hit by Russian drone and missile attacks that killed at least 12 people and injured dozens. Ukrainian officials say it's the largest aerial assault since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion in February of 2022. It was the third straight night Ukrainian cities saw themselves under attack, including Ukraine's capital, as drones from Moscow demolished suburbs. President Trump did not mince words when reporters asked him Sunday night about Russia's Vladimir Putin and the attacks.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
Donald Trump also wrote on Truth Social last night, Putin has, quote, gone absolutely crazy. He also criticized Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He said that he is, quote, doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop, end quote. Moscow did not immediately comment on the strikes. Zelensky called for Western allies to step up sanctions against Russia in order to bring some relief to Ukraine. President Trump says the United States will delay implementing a 50% tariff on European Union products from June 1st until July 9th to allow time for talks with the union. The agreement came following a phone conversation with the president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. Donald Trump says she's serious about the talks.
She just called me, as you know, and she asked for an extension in the June 1st date. And she said she wants to get down to serious negotiation because I've told you specifically, haven't I told anybody that would listen? They have to do that. And we had a very nice call, and I agreed to move it. I believe June 9th, it would be July 9th would be the date. That was the date she requested. Could we move it from June 1st to July 9th? And I agreed to do that. And that she said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out.
The move follows a social media post Friday by Donald Trump in which the president threatened 50% tariffs on imports from the European Union. He criticized the EU for being very difficult to work with on trade, and negotiations had gone nowhere. Those duties would have started on June 1st. The Dow was down 256 points and the S&P 500 off nearly 40 points Friday to head into the holiday weekend. But the call with the European Commission president appears to have eased tensions. Von der Leyen responded saying the EU and U.S. share the world's most consequential and close trade relationship. She added, Europe is ready to advance talks swiftly and decisively. To reach a good deal, we will need the time until July 9th. House Speaker Mike Johnson has one request of Senate Republicans as they work to pass President Trump's budget bill. Don't make any big changes to the legislation. Johnson says he expects the package the House sent over to be modified as little as possible, citing the bill's narrow passage in the House last Thursday. House Republicans approved the so-called Big Beautiful Bill by just one vote, with 2 Republicans voting against it. Some Republican senators have raised concerns about the changes to Medicaid. Senate Majority Leader John Thune also says he'd like to see some tax cuts become permanent instead of an expiration in a few years. However, the biggest hurdle the bill now faces is from GOP deficit hawks like Rand Paul, who warned the legislation increases the deficit significantly. The Senate may vote to pass the bill as is, make modifications, or reject it. If the Senate passes an amended version, both chambers will have to go to conference committee to work out differences before it heads to President Trump's desk. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is visiting Israel today. The diplomatic trip is meant to show support for the victims of a deadly shooting of 2 Israeli embassy employees in Washington, D.C. last week. Noem says President Trump requested she go to Israel after the murders of American Sarah Milgram and her boyfriend, Yaron Lashinsky, an Israeli citizen. The suspect arrested in the shooting, Elias Rodriguez of Chicago, yelled "Free Palestine" toward the cameras as he was taken into custody, then later reportedly told police he did it for Palestine.
President Trump extends his greetings and his grief to all of you, and he stands with you as we fight this hatred in the world and know that Yaron and Sarah's lives will be of significance and will matter and will bring a unity among us that will help us defeat our enemies.
Following a visit to Bahrain, Noem arrived in Israel yesterday and met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A dual American-German citizen made an appearance in federal court Sunday in New York on charges linked to the attempted firebombing of the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv. Police say Joseph Neumeyer went to Israel in April, and on May 19th, he posted to Facebook, quote, "Join me this afternoon in Tel Aviv as we are burning down the U.S. Embassy." He added, "Join me as I burn down the embassy in Tel Aviv. Death to America." That same day, investigators say he arrived outside the branch office of the embassy with the backpack. After getting confronted, Neumeyer reportedly ran off and left the backpack behind. Police say they found several bottles that could have been used as Molotov cocktails in that backpack. Authorities later arrested him at a hotel and sent him back to the United States. Prosecutors say some of Neumeyer's social media posts also called for the killing of President Donald Trump. FBI Director Kash Patel says Neumeyer will now face justice. Finally this morning, a big shakeup in the streaming of Coco Melon. The preschool hit is leaving Netflix and moving to Disney Plus in January of 2027. It's a big deal, worth tens of millions of dollars, and symbolizes how competitive children's programming has become. Coco Melon is super popular. It gets billions of views on YouTube, hitting 600 million back in 2023. It has fun songs, lots of bright colors and animation, as well as toddler-type characters. The acquisition is a coup for Disney, which already has shows like Bluey, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and Spidey and His Amazing Friends. Those are your unbiased updates for this Monday. Today, of course, is Memorial Day. A big thank you to the families of our war dead. As the country song goes, all gave some, and some gave all. Think of all your liberties and recall, some gave all. I'm Craig DeGrelli. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, have a good holiday.